Welcome to Game Over Montreal. It's Andrew Berkshire and Marc Dumont here for you tonight on a rare Sunday night game. The Montreal Canadiens lose to the Nashville Predators. And I'll be honest with you folks, it was a pretty shit game for the first half, but second half not so bad for your Montreal Canadiens. Maybe Mark and I will disagree. We'll talk it out in the story of the game here coming up. But first, remind everyone who is watching right now, please like the stream. It helps push the YouTube algorithm to send this to everyone else that logs on and types Habs into their search bar or watches Habs highlights and suggests it on the videos on the side. Helps us grow organically. And if you really want to help us, share us on your favorite social media of choice. Hey, and subscribe to us on Apple or Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts. And if you really, really like Mark and I, like an unhealthy amount, then write us a review too. Tell everybody how good we are so that you can help us out. It really does help. All right. Welcome to the show. Mark, I'm not going to lie. I think halfway through this game, if I wasn't being paid, I would have turned it off.
I'm glad you're not lying to me. You know what? I actually thought this was one of the better Montreal Canadiens performances this year. Like they
Overall,
had a
yes.
huge advantage in high danger chances. They were playing really well. They only allowed like 17 odd man rushes against, which is about half of what they, So yeah, I actually thought, but you're right. The first half was really not so great. And I think some of that had to do with the refereeing, but
Yes.
I actually had no issue with the refereeing tonight. So I'll play devil's advocate for the evil Zebras tonight. And shout out to everyone in the chat, all our usual favorite people. And Dashirin is here. Hello. Oh, absolutely. How's it going? Dashirin's already saying, make sure to like the chat. So I'm a big fan of Dashirin.
I love it when our chat is telling everyone to like
They
the
have to
show.
do it. It's because I'm on a lot. That's my issue. I always forget. So
Yeah, I've been forgetting lately too. Although I haven't been hosting a lot lately, so I guess I can't really say that. Yeah, I think early on, like I'm not gonna really complain about the officiating in this one. I think there's only two legitimate complaints about the officiating. I think the Mike Matheson penalty was bogus, but I understand that that's a call that gets called the tripping penalty in the first period, where he reached around.
Yeah, that was the one that was questionable in the first period. Yeah,
questionable, not insanely brutal, because the guy did fall after, right? Like a ref from the wrong angle is going to call that. And just like the change in how the game was officiated from period to period was quite stark, right? That's a little bit confusing, but overall, all the calls that they called were definitely calls. They missed some big ones for both teams. I don't think either team really had an advantage from the refereeing.
No.
And at even strength, the Canadiens flat out kicked the Panthers, or not the Panthers, sorry, the Predators' asses in this one.
What was it? Was like
seriously.
What was it? 14-2 or something? The high danger chances at 5-5. I haven't. Let me see here.
It was 15-6.
Okay, that's probably the highest advantage. The Canadiens controlled almost 72% of the high danger chances. That's absolutely great, and I think it was their power play that really let them down. But the power play didn't look that. You know what?
It struggled.
It's the bar is so low. Like it
is.
It's like limbo championship levels. But no, I thought it was actually a really good game, and it's just another kind of a slow start by the Canadiens cost them, right? But this tonight, to me, if the Habs come out and do this every single night, they're a playoff team.
I agree. Now, I mean, I think they need to show a little bit more consistency in terms of like how they play the first half of the game. Like most of their great play, they started out great. Then the parade to the penalty box happened for both teams. It kind of threw them off, and Nashville kind of took over. And I think what was frustrating about watching this one was like Nashville was not playing well, right? They were playing better than the Canadiens for a stretch, but like the way they were attacking was let's just circle around the perimeter and fire shots and try to like get tips and rebounds. And that kind of hockey doesn't work very often.
No.
So to lose to that kind of hockey must have been really frustrating. But I have to give credit to the Habs.
Yeah.
They're a tired team. I know they're also facing a tired team, but I do think the Canadiens had to play harder and longer.
They had a chance yesterday. Yeah, they were in the game.
And Nashville got blown out by the Leafs last night. So I don't think they were as exhausted as the Canadiens were. But man, that third period, one of the best third periods of the season, one of the best periods of the season, is just this team they're tired. They couldn't finish.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good to lose these games. And I know that that's a tough thing when you're in a rebuild and you want to see teams win game, but it was kind of like the LA game, right? I wasn't able to watch the third period of that game, but I
No,
watched
but
the first two
what do
periods.
you expect, right?
Right. And I expected them to get like railroaded. And I was surprised actually when I looked at the underlying numbers because watching the game, I thought the first 40 minutes of that LA game, the
Mhm.
Canadians were very much in it. And from a puck possession standpoint, actually were the better team from what I saw. So at least way better than they were against LA last time, right? So I
Yeah.
think there's positives to take out of this game. And not getting that extra 1 point or 2 points is probably good for when it comes to draft lottery time.
This is the type of my buddy Sean on Twitter will love this type of game, right? Good honest effort. Didn't get any points in the standings, but I'll say Andrew right now, and I think this is kind of how Martin Saint-Louis is looking at it, is the honest effort there? Because if it's not, yeah, you absolutely get to ream these guys out and yell at them tonight. There's nothing you can say. There's really nothing you can say. I
Yeah,
think Saros played really, really, really well, as the Sharon mentions. Saros didn't
definitely.
play last night. He came in fresh, yeah, kind of like Jake Allen. I thought Jake Allen played really well. And Andrew, that first goal by Sissons, the puck was going wide by about 4 feet. That was,
It
I
was
love
tremendous.
deflections like that. Like I love it when they give just the tip, but it was just one of those beautiful 1 in 100 deflections, and you can't get mad at that, right? So overall, especially for a young team, I feel it's harder for them to come out after day two and give as much of an effort, right? It takes a long time for your body to get used to it. Like we saw Slavkovsky tonight, a little slower because he doesn't have that experience to have his body ready for like the full 82 games, right? So I don't mind when the young guys kind of run out of gas. It takes a few years for you to get ready to play every single night, 82 nights a game, 82 games a season, and yeah, like again, it's a moral victory, but as moral victories go, that was a good moral victory.
100%. Yeah, King of the North says, "How does Jake Allen stop that first goal?"
You
Agree.
don't, you don't. No one
The
does.
only way is if he was much bigger and out of position,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the only way he gets that puck. There's no way you're stopping that. It's just
No,
impossible. And
no,
like
no, you don't. No.
even the second goal, which was off a big Jake Allen rebound, I don't really fault him for because the intention was to kick the rebound out to the boards, right? And
Yeah,
it just so happened there was a guy there and his guys were on the wrong side of the ice to defend.
it was a
I
giveaway
that is
too. Like,
probably yes, yeah. That is probably the best
hmm,
overall news out of this game for like the future of the Canadians is that Jake Allen looked really good
yeah.
in front of the Oilers scout. I think they're like head goalie scout was at the game today.
Was he?
So
Yeah. Okay, good.
Jake
Hold on. I gotta make a
Allen,
note for tomorrow morning. There, I gotta
yeah,
write about that.
it's been a bit of a struggle for Allen lately. It's not all of it his
No,
fault, but he's kind of gotten into games that have gotten away from him.
yeah.
It was really nice to see him be really excellent tonight. And I do think he was excellent. I don't think he was challenged to the extent that like Primo was last night, but
No.
there were some big moments where he had to make big saves, and he did that to keep this game winnable for the Canadians. And yeah, they didn't get the win for him, but he gave them everything that they needed to win.
And during the power play there, with where I believe Matheson fell, it wasn't really his fault. Speaking of which, Matheson's looked a lot better recently. Like
He
that whole
has.
bump at the beginning of the year, I don't know, something was off, but Matheson's looked very good recently. He fell. I'm not going to blame him for that, but you know, again, you don't want to see odd man rushes against the Habs, but there were fewer tonight, and that one was a big one, right? That's shorthanded to high danger saves.
Yep.
Jake Allen looked really good, and I think if you're the Oilers, what are you looking for, Andrew? You're not looking for a guy to save your life, right? You're looking for a guy who'll just make it one damn save per period.
Yep.
You don't need a guy that's going to be a 930, a 910, a 915 is a huge upgrade. So tonight I'm guessing
A
because
900 is a huge upgrade. Like,
man, yeah, because you know what, 915 is actually getting above average in the NHL now. I think, yeah, I have to readjust, but yeah, I'm sure they like what they saw, and it, in my opinion, Andrew, it's overdue to get the goalie issue solved. Like I think maybe I'm probably
agreed.
making a bigger deal of it than I should, but I just get the sense that all three goalies hate it. Did you see Jake Allen last night? He came out, first thing he said, he's like, "Well, I can tell you, I'm not playing." Like that was before the game, so. I know for a fact Primo hates it. Montembeault probably isn't as worried now, but it's not healthy. Just figure something out, man. Bite the
Yeah,
bullet, make
they
it
do need
happen.
to solve it. It's
Yeah,
gone on long enough. We're
yeah,
into month 3 now. I think we've got to realize that no matter, unless It's going to be a multi-part
Sorry.
trade where the Oilers are jettisoning some
It
cap space.
okay,
It's
yeah.
not going to be a big return, right?
No,
So
it's gonna be like a fifth round pick, man. Like
yeah, I mean,
if you're lucky.
if all this is for the difference between a fifth round pick and a third round pick, Kent, we don't care. We don't care.
We're here to tell you we don't care. Like, you know,
just get the fifth, man. Just
I
solve the
wrote the exact
problem.
same thing in my mailbag today. I was just like, it doesn't like really, it really doesn't matter. Just get it done. And you know what else, Andrew? Before Laval could use a goalie right now really badly. So like it's actually
They
having
could.
an effect throughout the organization.
They
Sorry to
really
interrupt
could.
there.
Although Laval had they won what 5-1 yesterday.
Yeah, their first
That's
win
not
in
bad.
8 games. So right
Oh
now,
God.
yeah. But actually, Jakub Dobesh was, and I can't blame him, man, because you know those videos where there's like a room with way too many cats and you can smell how many cats are there, and it's definitely a single person living with those cats, and like a ski falls and the cats just lose their minds. That's how the Laval Rocket play defense. Like it's you have Logan Mailloux with more turnovers than a grand opening at a bakery. Like you have you just it's a really bad situation for the goalies as well. So I know they're at like an 860 and an 882, but when Strauss Mann is your big savior in that, there's a bigger issue than the goaltending, right?
Yeah, that is not great.
Yeah.
David C says, could they try to send Allen to the AHL? I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think it would be a huge insult to a guy
And
who's
the
been such
PWHL would get
a good
involved.
person.
The
Yeah,
yeah,
the
that too.
PWHL.
Sorry, I'm thinking about the hockey that I want to watch soon, but the Players Association and
Okay.
what you mentioned there, Andrew. Before I cut you off, is the most important part because Allen played nice last year, and it doesn't matter how nice he played. You know, deep down inside, he wants to play, right? Like
Yep.
nobody likes being relegated to the mentor role. You don't have to play nice for 2 years in a row. So yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. If you found a spot for Casey the Smith, you're gonna find a spot for Jake Allen.
Yes, agreed. 100%. And I think doing right by Allen and getting him into a position where he's on a good team that has a chance
Yeah.
is important. I think that's like the main
Mhm.
holdup here is putting
Yeah.
him in a situation that he deserves to be in because he's been such a good veteran leader for this team. Kay says Tanner Pearson will miss 4 to 6 weeks.
You know
Who's
what?
not out 4 to 6 weeks?
That's that's not bad, all things considered, because it was the same hand, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was actually like pretty scary if you think about it.
I was like, oh man, here go. Like, I hope his career's not over, you know? So
Yeah, and he was just starting to play well again, which kind of sucks. But
okay, so this week, the last 10 games, Slavkovsky led the team in high danger chances and expected individual XG. Then it was actually Caulfield in IXG, Slavkovsky, and Tanner Pearson was third in the last 10
really,
games. Yep. Yep.
very surprising.
Mhm.
I will say that top line tonight, it was the first time since they got put together where I thought
It
they
didn't
were
look good.
really fighting it. I
Yeah.
think it's probably too easy to write it off because you want to stay positive, but
Mhm.
I do think that that line carried the bag so severely against Buffalo last night that they are the guys who I would most expect to be tired.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, like they were
I'm gonna
really
check their
fighting it.
stats right now.
They were really fighting it. They were the worst line tonight overall. Um,
Oh, so
but
what? But it's their first game where they're not the best line in every
yes,
important metric. Okay, well then,
yes.
yeah, that's fine. Hey man, they finished with 70% XGF. What am I seeing here?
What?
I think
I'm seeing 45 for Caulfield.
oh,
You
I'm
got all
just looking at their
situations?
their full line, their 5-on-5. But again, it was a disjointed game
Oh,
for
maybe they were
five on
just
five
terrible
time.
away from each other. Who knows? They
Yeah,
had
because
some good shifts, right? But it seemed like they couldn't make the last
I
play.
don't I don't believe this. I'm looking at it now, Andrew, and I can't. I don't know. Like it says that they outshot, and I guess, by the end of the third period, they were pretty, the Habs were in control, right? So that does make
Yeah.
sense to me. They said a 3-1 advantage in high danger chances. Andrew, I think the risk is that did you notice the other day, Nick Suzuki said, I hope we stay together for a while. Because,
Yes.
and that really resonated with me because I'm like, okay, so this guy knows that the process is good, but also you need to see results. So I think that was his little hint to the coach to say like, hey man, I know we haven't necessarily, put the whole league on fire, but we're doing good things. So give us another chance. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing there, but my worry, Andrew, is that St. Louis eventually say my first line has to score, and that's fair too.
Yeah, I mean, you would think eventually that might be something that they have to think about, but
It shouldn't be. It's not a
all
huge issue,
all all
right?
the little things they're doing right. The scoring should happen before they have to make that decision. At least I hope so. I
Mhm.
mean, Caulfield last night could have had 4 goals, right? 9 shots on goal, 8 scoring chances, and a
Safkovsky
lot
had
of
two
really good
really
ones.
good ones too.
Yes,
If he would have
Slavkovsky
raised
was
up,
excellent.
I'll say this. And I know I love his progress, man. If he can get into lifting the puck a little bit more,
Yes, that
Safkovsky would have 12 goals this year.
it's like the timing of his shot needs to be slightly better, and
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing where because he's improved in so many other areas, I'm like he's gonna
Mhm.
figure it out. I
Yeah.
saw on Twitter that they're actually having him work with a shooting coach, David
Mr. Shot.
Pasternak's shooting
Mr.
coach, right?
Shot. Yeah.
Mr. Shot.
But, but they probably had their worst shooting game the day after. Isn't that like there's no correlation whatsoever? But the next day they went out and actually no, they had a
What can
few,
you
they had
do?
2 chances against the Kings, I think. But yeah, no, I
I
love it.
mean,
Bring in all the shooting coaches, all of them.
yeah, got to try something. I mean, the development is not like the development path is clearly not over. Otherwise, we'd be expecting a lot more point production from
Mhm,
everyone, right? But
mhm.
overall, really strong from them. And I was saying they were the guys that should be most tired, but Mike Matheson played 30 minutes last night, and outside of missing like one uh, odd broken face-off play where that caused a shorthanded chance against, I thought he was excellent again tonight. And
Yeah, and I
you
don't
know,
blame them for that play either.
no, it was I think it was Monahan that kind of chipped it right to the
It
middle
would have been
between the
it would
two
have been a
defensemen.
2-on-1 instead of a 3-on-1, like
Yeah.
it's me. I look more at the missed chances, right? That 3-on-1 where they didn't shoot. Andrew, there's some things that really bug me, and that's when you don't get a shot on a 3-on-1. Oh, that's there should be some sort of punishment, special punishment, like not too harsh. Did you ever watch White TV way back in the before 4 time? There was a show called You Can't Do That on Television, and they get slimed. If
I
you,
do remember
yeah,
that.
okay, so Jay was on that show. So it was Alanis Morissette and who else? The one who's married to Alicia Cuthbert was on that show. Anyways, the point is they got slimed, and if you don't shoot on a 3-on-1, you should get slimed. Just slimed right away. That's my
Oh,
suggestion.
poor Josh Anderson. The one time he tries to make a pass, it just goes off on a weird angle. It must have been up on its edge or something. Hey,
I'm
where it
not
hit Monahan's stick.
I'm gonna go one whole episode without saying anything bad about Josh Anderson. That's
I mean, I thought he played hard tonight. The
yeah.
same issues constantly prop up, but again, what can you do? Josh Anderson's Josh Anderson. You know what? Let's talk about some players that actually impressed us tonight. Aside from Jake Allen, who was absolutely splendid in goal, and UC Saros, who was
Mhm.
just as good, if not better. I mean, obviously better because he only allowed 1 goal, and the Canadians literally doubled the Predators in expected goals in this game
It
at
was
five
one
on
of their
five.
best games of the season. That's the
It was
crazy
a
part. Yeah.
really strong game. Like I think
Mhm.
we can't lose
Mhm.
sight of that in the fact that it was a loss.
Mhm.
But Brendan Gallagher was an absolute
Yeah.
beast tonight.
Full Gallagher mode.
He looked like playoff Gallagher with the blood dripping down his face. He was
Yeah.
just determined. That line, if you look at their expected goals, is ludicrous. Christian Dvorak 97% tonight.
Oh, yeah, I was just picturing a ludicrous, like actual ludicrous was there. I'm very tired.
They
Sorry.
just started rapping, and the Predators didn't know what to do. They're like, "No, we're a country music team."
Fourth line was very Ja Rule, and it's okay. Yeah, they were pretty. Yeah, hey, that was a good line.
Yeah, and
Christian Rapp was
people are
terrific.
saying Jake Evans as well. Yeah, shout out to Jake
Good for
Evans
him.
who scored on a broken play. I think it was a very Jake Evans goal
It
in that
was a
the Canadians.
mistake. The pass was a bad pass, but it came right
Yep,
back to him. I'm like, yes.
that and I think the timing of it, right? Like the team could have easily been rattled after the no goal call, but Jake Evans is like, head down, go to work, guys,
Yeah,
let's do it, and gets them back into the
he does
game.
that a lot.
He does that a lot.
That's
He
like
does that a
his
lot.
yeah, yeah. Andrew, it's funny. He went what the longest scoreless streak of the year. Well, pretty much, right? Because Anderson eventually scored, and no one was talking about it. So I think that goes to show, like they'll throw him in every RDS, graphic where it says the guys haven't scored in this long, but not a single Habs fan has complained about Jake Evans, who only has scored in the first game of the year, and I think that kind of says it all. He deserves a few more bounces. Let's put it that way, and he's getting married there soon, so
He does.
he's
And I've
yeah.
liked the way he's looked offensively playing with Sean Monahan.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that too, right? Because the other part, Andrew, and sometimes I wanted to write about, hey, like Evans is getting buried on that fourth line so at times. But
Mhm.
you look at him and he's essentially that old sea captain that you can trust, that you're throwing two greenhorns with at all times. Like he's getting the dregs, right? And the goal is survive in a lot of cases, and it's really, really tough usage. So yeah, I have no issue with Jake Evans only having, even if he wouldn't have scored tonight, wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, I mean, even just his work on the penalty kill
Yeah,
has been excellent all year long. Like he's
yeah.
been very, very consistent in the things that we expect Jake Evans to do well.
Mhm.
He has done well. He's
Yeah.
played with a revolving door of line mates, as he almost always does.
Almost always, yeah.
Never
Terrible
complains.
usage. Terrible usage.
Yeah, it's tough. I wish he had a bit more scoring touch because I think it would secure his spot in the lineup long term
You could
more.
talk about him being a
But
third line center, but that's not really realistic. Well, yeah. And he's ideally where he should be. And there's a lot of value in not pushing that too much, right? Like you and me, Andrew,
true.
we've talked about this a lot. Guys like Xhekaj or even whatever guy is playing well in the third line, sometimes going up one more line is actually not the best thing, right? So it's the Peter principle. You eventually get promoted to the point where
Yep.
you're not good anymore. So Jake Evans in the fourth line, that's fine, that's good. And a lot of people have talked about Owen Beck taking his spot, etc. Well, Owen Beck has, I mean, if he ends up being a fourth liner, that's great, but you're looking at him as more of a third line center, right? So
Yeah.
Evans has his place in the lineup right now. And as well, actually, was it Trinka or Chizak? It was Trinka, I think. Oh, I got it this time. It was Trinka says, yeah, Jake Evans deserves tous les fleurs. And I agree. He deserves all the praise.
100%. What was I gonna say here? I lost my train of thought completely. Oh, you know who looked pretty decent tonight? Honestly, was David Savard. First game back after a long time off.
Only 2 slides.
Yeah, only 2 slides. Rick Green will be yelling at him on Wednesday on the
You know
HIO
what? One of them
show.
was really nice. So it was a Hall Gill-esque slide. So that's fine.
But he made some good plays tonight. I thought he acquitted himself well. I thought he would look
Mhm.
more rusty. I
Yeah.
was pretty impressed with David Savard.
He for a guy that, again, we were just talking about being placed in situations that are probably above their skill level. I think he looked really, really good. And as much as statistically you can look at Salva and say, like, there's an issue here with him playing there, when other players have been slotted in that top pairing spot, they've done much worse than David Salva. Like that's the crazy part, is right now he's probably their best option at, on that top pair right defense, right? Andrew, like, what do you trust Kovacevic? We're just talking about the Peter principle here. Kovacevic, fourth, your fourth defenseman at most. You don't want him to go above that. Ideally, third
Yeah.
pairing. Gustav Lindstrom has the worst
No.
statistics in the history of the NHL because
The history of the NHL.
well, Andrew, I'm pretty sure like he's at like 31% XGF. It's
It's pretty bad.
incredible how he's getting massacred, and it's not his fault. It's not that handsome boy's fault whatsoever. But so yeah, Savall coming back. This is crazy. I never thought I'd say this, is probably comforting for for a lot of those defensive players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's also fun to have Dad back in the room, right? Because he's team
Le
dad.
papa, yeah, exactly.
He's taking care of everyone, and those young players get to learn from him. And now Jaden Struble gets to play with him a little bit. And again, another strong game from Jaden Struble.
Yeah, I thought it
Doesn't
was
seem to
probably
miss a beat.
his toughest game, Andrew, but the bar is just sky high for him, right? I'm the guy that was saying after 4 games, like, we'll cool it. He's been good. After 10 games, if this is a meritocracy, he's in the lineup, forevermore, like, or until things change. Simple, Andrew. And he drives the offense. What I don't understand, everyone thinks he's really good defensively. He's okay. But what he does really well, quick puck retrievals, quick
Yep.
exits, drives the offense, man. When Jaden Struble's on the ice, the Habs create more high danger chances than when any other defenseman's on the ice. And it's all about that simple puck retrieval, quick 1-2 pass, boom, you're gone up the ice. That's what
Yeah,
Jaden
what
Struble
I
does
like
so
about him
well.
is like he'll make an extra move, but it's
Mhm.
quick, right? He'll
Yeah,
change the angle just to get a better pass.
yeah,
He finds players very
smart
well.
player. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He puts the puck in good places, right? He doesn't give his partner shitty things to deal with.
No, no, no,
He's
no.
like in some ways kind of opposite Justin Barron.
I was
And I'm
just
not trying to
thinking
trash Justin Barron because I went on a
because
big
he was
we went in on a
fine.
deep dive on him last night with Sebastian High, and I talked about like one of the biggest issues that I have with Justin Barron is he plays like a guy who's significantly more skilled than he actually is. And like sometimes that pays off really well, and sometimes it very much does not. And I think that at the end of his skill development, Barron will be closer to the player that he thinks he is, and it'll be less of an issue.
Mhm.
But right now, there are days or weeks sometimes where he gets into these ruts, and it's super frustrating. And Struble so far just plays very within his
Yeah,
skill set, and that is a good thing in the
there's more to
NHL
come
for a
too,
player
Andrew.
who's
There's
on
more to
like the
come.
bottom half of the lineup.
Absolutely, yes. And it's the key is not making mistakes. There's more to come. I promise you. Strubal's just taking it by like incremental, stages. But to go back to Barron real quick, did you ever watch dog shows? Did you ever watch the Westminster Dog Show?
No,
Okay,
no,
well,
Mark, I don't watch the Westminster Dog Show.
Westminster. Are you saying? Well, okay. I hope the chat's got my back because the Westminster Dogs Show is the shit. You're the weird one for not watching the Westminster Dog Show.
Is that
But
one where
anyways,
they like run courses,
yeah,
or is it
yeah,
just
yeah,
show
yeah,
dogs?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's both. It's both. They'll do
Okay.
like there's the weird one where they're where the judge like yeah. Anyways, but I'm
Where they
talking
like
about
lift up the tail and they're like, look at this
whoop, yeah,
dog's
yeah.
butthole. What a perfect dog butthole. Who wants that job? Some the people who have that job are
Weirdly, a
fucked up,
lot of
Mark.
people.
They
A
are
lot.
fucked up.
It's not just that. Is oftentimes to get the dog to go taut, they'll like if it's a male.
The
Anyways,
blow, right?
they'll like a little tug. Anyways, but what I'm saying,
No!
no, no, like just a quick like whoop, and you yeah, so the dog like yeah, look up. I'm
I'm
telling you,
scarred.
I'm sure it works. It worked yesterday where Yaroslavsky got poked in the balls and he reacted real quick. But anyways, what I'm trying to say here is that Barron is he's that like border collie that's super intense, and if he's reacting to everything, it's great. It's like he's going through the course super quickly. But if he gets distracted for like
It's
half
over.
a second, it's over. He's running down the field. He
Yeah.
forgot his play. You know what I mean? So if he relies on his instincts, I think Justin Barron it could be a pretty darn good 3-4. But the moment that he overthinks it, it just boom. He's running to
Yeah.
go sniff another dog's butt.
Yeah, I do think the coaching staff needs to talk to Barron and just tell him, like, play on your instincts and play quick. The more time you take, the worse your decision making is, which
Yeah,
is,
yeah, I know. That's
it's, and I swear I'm not trying
there's
to be
no
mean, but
there's
it,
no
it
nice way
is
to say
true
it.
right now. It is
Yeah.
true right now. Like, that's part of what makes Struble so effective is that he's playing quick, making quick decisions.
Smart,
And
quick, simple,
if you need
efficient.
to think too much,
Mhm.
oftentimes teams find ways to put pressure on you,
Yeah.
or gaps close, right? Like sometimes you also don't want to force plays. There was a few moments tonight where like Caden Gooley had I think it was the second goal, tried to force a play, and it didn't work. Although I thought he did well tonight
Are you
overall.
talking about the play where it ended up being the goal against?
Yes, yeah, where he tried to
I,
just smack it out
you
of
know
the zone
what?
that
I
didn't get
okay.
out.
Well, here I'll say this, and I tend to defend the defenseman a lot, but he only had one outlet, and
Yes.
actually he didn't have one outlet. He was forcing Slavkovsky to be like, "Hey, buddy, like give me an outlet," and Slavkovsky reacted really slowly to it. So, yeah, it wasn't a great pass, but he was under duress, he was under pressure, and no one was helping him out. Slavkovsky had to be giving him that outlet, and Slavkovsky was kind of asleep there. So, yeah, what I was saying during the game, Andrew, is that when Caden Gooley doesn't have a perfect game, the Habs lose, and it's not
Yeah,
fair, right?
that's not incorrect.
Like that's I'm serious. Anytime that he's not like when the game score comes out and he's not just dominant, Habs lose. So he can't make a mistake, and that's not fair for a 21-year-old. But it just goes to
22?
show
No, is he
22.
21 still? Yeah,
I don't know,
21.
but regardless, second year in, and it shows how important he is to the Montreal Canadiens. Like he's not a perfect player yet, and I'd say he's probably undergoing his worst stretch of the year. But you shouldn't be relying on a 21 or 22-year-old, right? Like that's a bit much.
Yeah, let's continue talking about the defense because there's people are interested in this. But before we continue, please like the stream. If you're
Hmm.
here and enjoying the show, please subscribe to SDPN. Take the link here at the top of the screen or hit the share bar on YouTube and share us on your favorite social media if you really like us. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. It really helps us out. And yeah, so Trizak asks, is there room on the team for a Struble Xhekaj pairing? Somebody would have to play on their offside, but
Yeah.
good lord, good luck in front of the net.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, Trizak had a better comment. Can someone clip Andrew saying, what a perfect dog butthole for blackmail purposes?" And I would like that if we could get someone on audio.
Please
Andrew,
don't do that.
I'm the issue the issue is puck retrieval, right? And I think you would have to play Xhekaj on the wrong side there. I remember at one point they were trying to see if Harris could play on his offside, and it just wasn't working out. A lot of guys have a hard time just retrieval and getting the puck out on their backhand. So I'm not obsessed with it though, but Martin Saint Louis does like his LDRD. I mean, it's clear, right, Andrew,
Most
that
coaches do.
most coaches do, and it's so much easier for me to say fuck it. But in terms of puck retrieval, there's a real risk there. Yeah, in front of the net, man, you're gonna be eating lumber. You're gonna be eating more lumber than a woodchuck. But I don't think it'll happen with Saint Louis. But I will say this: statistically speaking, those are the two guys that we shouldn't be worried about right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those guys both deserve a spot in the lineup. Whether or not they do get one, that's a little more complicated. But hey, man, like Xhekaj in the AHL is not the biggest deal, but it's crazy to me now that he took so many big steps this year and his numbers are so much better. And all of a sudden, people are saying that he's bad and he needs to work in that. Like, I don't get
I
it,
don't know where
Andrew.
that's come from.
I'm so confused. Like, it's weird to me.
Let's be realistic here. Like, Xhekaj has excellent underlying numbers.
Oh my
this
God, the
year.
best on the team. Like not even close. It's
And
insane.
last year, that frankly wasn't the case.
Well, he
Last year,
started good and then
Yeah, he started decent and then dipped, right?
Then
But
he started to
the
fight too
dip
much,
was
yeah.
longer than the good start. If you know what I
but
mean.
you could
Like,
I tracked it with his fights, and there was actually like a constant. It was really weird. Again, not a causation correlation, but you could tell his shoulder started hurting him about midway through the year.
yeah.
But yeah, I
So-
don't get it. Xhekaj's been really good, and one of the issues is St. Louis wants more from him. And again, back to that Peter principle, Andrew. Xhekaj doesn't need to be on the top four. He doesn't need to be scoring goals. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's good at defending the rush, and when other teams on the ice, they don't get many high danger chances. That's what you want for your third pairing defenseman. So to me, this whole Xhekaj conversation is crazy. He should be in the NHL. Absolutely.
He will be soon, I think. I
Mhm.
mean, the way I see the whole demotion thing is he was off for a while. They have the luxury of starting
played
him out
since, like,
slow in the American
mid-November.
Hockey League.
Yeah.
And what I
Struble
said
was
last
playing
night
well.
on the show was, I think this shows that the Montreal Canadiens believe that Xhekaj can be more. Maybe he
Yes.
can't,
That part's encouraging.
but if they can get him to develop his game even further in a lower pressure situation, then come back and be, like one step up from what he was, even if he doesn't move up the depth chart, that increases your baseline, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
Xhekaj is such a unicorn in the way that he plays. I mean, we were talking last night that, the rumors pushed by Georges Larac there on the French side, that he was going to get traded.
Which ones?
Makes absolutely no fucking sense. Let's
Which
be
ones?
real here. They're not sending him down to the American Hockey League to trade him. That doesn't, like, what do you,
Well,
where does that even, the circle does not square. The math is not mathing. But if they do end up trading Xhekaj, they're going to get an absolute king's ransom because
Like a
31
first-round
other
pick or
teams want
something.
this guy.
I swear to God, you'll get a first-round pick from him. I
You
swear
might
to
get
God.
more than that. With how young he is?
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that like, and me, if I'm on any team, I'm saying like, guys, he's good, but like, calm down. We do not want to give up a first rounder for him. I will say this. Yesterday was the first time in my life that I kind of agreed with other people about the whole, like, it would be nice to have him here just to wrangle some guy's neck. And
Oh, yeah.
I know it's not great to say that, but it would have been fun just to have Xhekaj there to really send a message, as in a, like, yeah, we're rebuilding, but you can't be going after our stars. I thought the Habs actually responded really well as a team. But Andrew, for about 50 years, people have been saying that teams have a big they play scared when a guy like Xhekaj's on the ice. I haven't ever seen it as much as this. And I've been watching hockey for better part of 40 years, right? So this is the first time in a long time that a guy's mere presence makes everyone calm down.
Yeah,
And,
I think
just
the big difference is because I think we were fed that line for so long for guys like Ryan Reeves or Georges
when it just
Larac
which
or
wasn't
Donald
true.
Brashear.
No.
Guys that play 5 minutes a night,
yeah.
10 for Reeves when he was good, and Xhekaj can
those
play
12
20.
games.
Yeah, Xhekaj can play 20. He's a defenseman, so forwards are going to have to interact with him and get in his space.
Mhm.
And he deals out punishment in multiple different ways, right? He's not just a fighter. He will crush
He has
you.
nice breakouts too, and like
And he's hard to play against. That's the thing, right? Like, he uses his physicality really well. And there's good physicality and useless physicality in this league. And Xhekaj is very, very useful in his physicality. I think that's the biggest difference, right? Maybe he might miss you with his check, but you know what? He's probably also going to slash you in the back of the calves there when you're going by, and that's
A
going to hurt too
solid one,
because
a solid
he's got the
one.
strength of 10 men.
Yeah.
He's like Aladdin when he's got the genie there. Like
No, absolutely.
that's Xhekaj. He's
He
so mutant strong.
And if he cleans up his penalties, which I feel like actually, I do defend referees a lot, but I feel like he gets the rough ride. He's getting
He
like the
does.
PK Subban rookie treatment a little bit. Like you
It's
came in.
the PK. Well, PK Subban his whole career treatment, except
Yes,
for Xhekaj's not
but
black.
yeah, well, yeah, but it's the whole like, oh, you made a lot of noise when you jumped on the scene. Like how dare you? You're just a rookie. But if he cleans up those penalties, man, yeah, he's very, even with the penalties, he's probably has a positive impact. But if he cleans up those penalties, Arber Xhekaj is a guy that you can throw on your third line and know that your third pairing, and know that it's going to be a good third pairing. And there's so much value for that. And you're not going to spend $5 million a year on him. So yeah, there's, as Jean Small mentions here, Xhekaj should aim to emulate Gudas. Xhekaj already has better numbers than Gudas had at that same age, and Gudas, I believe, had been playing longer, right? So
Yeah.
but now we're not gonna say that he's gonna be better than Gudas, but yeah, if he could be pure defense, no offense, kind of like Gudas, hey, that's a win. That's a huge win for the Habs and for a team that, let's be honest, kind of got his ass kicked for about 20-30 years there. It's fun to be the one that other fans are complaining about. You know what I mean, Andrew?
Yes.
Like in all those battles with the Bruins, like it was fun because they were the villains, but it was always that the Habs kind of getting chased after, right? So I don't mind seeing, like, this reminds me, I go almost back to the Chris Nyland days, seeing you got that one guy that no one's going to want to mess with on your team, and there's value there, entertainment value too, Andrew. In this rebuild, they're not all going to be fun games, but like, has there ever been an NHLer play so few shifts that entertaining in the history of the league? I don't know, man. Everything about Arber Xhekaj is good, and he should be playing in the NHL. But as you mentioned, to get all the way back to it, the fact that the Habs are gonna play him there and be like, hey, man, like, if we didn't believe in you, Norlander would be playing and you would be in the press box. That's good. That's good, right?
Yeah. 100%. I
So
mean,
they're not giving up on him. They don't think he's a so I like that. I like the idea that even at the beginning of the year, I suggested sending him to Laval just to start, because there was no spots. People got angry, but I'm like, no, that's because I actually think there's value there. If I
you believe in
didn't,
him.
I'd have him as my seventh guy that sits. But instead, and this is bad news for Norlander, but he was the guy that clearly they're like, hey, like, we're going to give you big paychecks, but don't even bring your skates to Montreal,
I feel like Arber's got like his next intimidation tactic. He's got to start just like grabbing guys' sticks, and when he takes a hold in the stick penalty, just snap it.
Just
Not even
like
use
with one
not
hand
even use
there,
two
like-
hands, but one hand snap. Just he crushes it and it turns to dust, and he's like, ugh, graphite dust.
Yeah, man. He's and you'll see too the guys how quickly they'll back off. It's beautiful to see, especially again for the Habs, just because it was always a small skilled team, right? So yeah, I know this wasn't Arber Xhekaj wasn't even playing tonight, but he's the guy that we've spoken about the most in this post game episode. It just goes to show. Yeah, it really is the unicorn, isn't he?
Yeah, he's become a folk hero already, and we haven't even seen him in the playoffs. My God, can you imagine
Oh man,
Arber Xhekaj in the playoffs
suspensions
when the
galore.
whistles
Oh,
go
yeah.
away?
Yeah.
They're gonna
Like,
have to have like 100
brawls.
sticks on the bench. He's gonna be snapping so many over guys' backs.
Brawls there, big old brawls there. Do you ever? Okay, there's one of those guys that does that, like the freakishly large like Mr. What do you call it there? Universe like competitions. There's one guy,
Yep,
Ron Coleman.
bodybuilders.
Yeah, Coleman, and he was actually a police officer for a while, and that's what you need, like, for the referee. when Xhekaj's in the playoffs, you need like a Coleman Mr. Universe size.
All of a sudden, Xhekaj in the playoffs, the linesmen come in. They've got the cutoffs because they can't find sleeves big enough. We had to hire some new guys who could,
exactly.
wrestle him down.
Andrew, that's exactly what I was picturing, because in his cop uniform, like yeah, they go right up to his shoulders. So that's exactly what I was picturing. But yeah,
Oh, man.
he's gonna be full. He doesn't have the Shea Weber immunity yet, but he's gonna be an annoying guy in the playoffs. And I've never had more fans from other teams come and say, like, fuck, I hate him and I love him so much. So that's a good sign.
I still get a certain amount of satisfaction from how much Steve Dangle hates Alexei Emelin. And he's so convinced that Emelin was like the dirtiest hitter. I'm like, man, I'm an Emelin hater in terms of hockey, right?
You guys have very heavy emotions about Alexei Emelin. Like, I don't give a shit about that.
Apparently, he just really hates Alexei Emelin. And I was like, if you go and look at every single hit Alexei Emelin ever laid,
beautiful, man.
maybe 5% were
Towards the end,
dirty.
a couple.
Yes, as he lost his foot speed, but as a
they
Montreal
used him.
Canadian,
Yep, they used him, and the when they were doing the like the videos about how to properly hip check, it was the Alexei Emelin show, and
yeah.
I'm now I have strong feelings about this. Screw you, Steve Dangle. Emelin was one of the last hip checkers in the league, and that sucks that we lost him. So his
You know
best
why,
hit was
Steve?
on Eric Cole, but still, hip checks.
You know why he hates him? Because Steve's a huge Jerome McGinley guy, and when you remember the game against the Colorado Avalanche where the Canadiens won like 8-0 or something,
I don't know what I ate for
years ago,
breakfast. Yeah,
and
sure. Yeah.
at the end of the game, somebody came down, streaking down the wing, trying to like go out to the outside and cut inside around Emelin, and Emelin laid them out.
And they said they shouldn't have hit him there. Yeah.
Went ass over tea kettle, and then Ginla tried to fight him, and it was like, yeah, just because it's 8-1 doesn't mean he's gonna let you pass. Like, what do you expect?
I'll say
him
this,
to do?
and I bet you if you ask Ginla now, he'll say, "I'm glad he did it," and he'd still react by trying to fight him, but laying off your opponent is the biggest insult in professional sports.
100%.
If it's like 20-0, I still want you to give your best. If you take pity on me, then I will lose my mind. But
when teams run out their like fourth line for a power play at the end of a
no, that's
game,
insulting.
that's so
way
insulting.
more insulting. Absolutely, way more insulting. No, the only thing that I guess the bad taste in our mouth is that Emelin essentially ended Subban's career in Montreal.
Yes, he did.
With his ass.
Yep.
With his bum.
Sucks.
Yeah. So like,
let's move on from Alexei Emelin and take some questions.
The last scene we saw was Subban being stretchered out because he got ass rammed by Emelin's bum. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting corrected from Evan and Kay and David that it was a 10-1 game. Those are always fun.
It could be 40-1. I don't care. I really hate it when anyone says like, "Oh, we don't like that you put your best power play unit on." Fine. Don't let them be on the power play when they're winning 10-1.
Yeah, I think you look to the attitude that teams have in the World Juniors, right?
Go for it.
You have like Kazakhstan against Canada, and they win 16-1, and you talk to like the Kazakh players after, and the media availability, and they're like, "Yeah, it was just an honor to play this, and like be on the same ice as a team this good. It's gonna make us better." That's the attitude that you have to have when you're getting blown out. Like, if they let off the gas, that means they don't respect you.
Bingo bango. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I'm with you 100%. Keep going all the way till the end. Even if it's a charity thing with an athlete and a sick kid in a hospital, you go for that extra touchdown while you're playing Madden. You know what I mean? Like, you go for it.
Yeah. All right. So let's get some questions here.
Yeah.
Jean Simard has our first one. Says, should Kent Hughes try and get the bag for Matheson at the deadline?
Yes.
A lot of contenders would kill for a mobile defenseman in their top 4 on a great contract for their next 3 years. I would trade him if the package is good. Like, I'm not looking at like a Tyler Toffoli.
I want a nice package too.
It has to be better than that.
Yeah, like what would you say? Because it's going to be a team competing, but keep in mind, Andrew, he has the 64th highest cap hit amongst all defensemen, and I believe he's top 12 now for points per game or just your pace for the season. Like, that's a huge value. Any team could use him. Like, you're gonna get the type of thing where it's like a 28th overall pick and a B+ prospect.
Yeah, it has to be better than that. Like, for me to move on from Matheson because he's so important to the young players in this team.
Good prospect.
It has to be an excellent prospect, and it'd have to be like an unprotected first, not this year. It has to be in the future.
Deferring, yeah.
Yeah, I want it to be in a year that we don't know where your team is landing. I want to rely on the randomness, similar to that Florida thing with the Sherratt thing, and it has to be a significant return. I'm thinking like bigger than the Toffoli return, bigger than the Lehkonen return, bigger than the Sherratt return.
Yeah, especially the cap is going up, Andrew, so his overall hit on the cap is just going to shrink. You know. I would say, and the issue is with them is that his value is at his highest right now. It's kind of like with the Montembeault situation, except that he's 3 years older, right? 2 years older. So he's not going to be there, right? Like, he's going to start to decline when the Habs are going to be ready to compete. So,
yeah.
But here's the other part that sucks, man. C'est un Québécois. Il vient de Montréal, and he loves playing here. Like, there's so few of them, and he's good. You know what I mean? There's so few local guys that enjoy playing for the Habs.
That's
but
the thing. I
it's
think
not enough to turn down.
it has to be a fantastic offer,
Mm.
right? But I would not be upset if the Canadians let Matheson play out his whole contract here, and then he just goes somewhere else. Like I think his value is very strong in multiple different ways to this organization.
Mhm.
As you said, not very many local guys come back. Not very
That
many
are
local
good.
guys come back and excel. He's 9th in the league in ice time per game.
And
Without him, I
64th
don't know what the
in
defense
cap
looks
hits.
like.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Without him, Caden Gooley, like, Godspeed. You know what I mean? We saw what
Yeah.
happened when Mike Matheson wasn't there, and I love Caden Gooley, big fan, but he's already taken on more than he should. So yeah. Again, going back to it, as long as you get a good package there, as long as you get a nice package, then sure. But it's one of those where you make the decision, you're like, man, that kind of hurts. You have to take emotion out of it.
Yeah, I think Kay is losing it over you talking about how much you want a good package.
Yeah, I want to see a good package. I didn't necessarily said I'd accept it. I want to see the package first.
Just want to see it. So send
just
Mark your unsolicited package pictures.
Just ideas. It doesn't have to, like, you could be a sketch. Just it doesn't have to be a final product there.
Sketch.
Yeah,
like the beginning of Superbad there. The Sheeran says, wildly off topic, but are the Oilers actually back, like, for real this time?
Yeah, well, they were always good.
Yeah, the underlying numbers were always stellar, but Connor McDavid
they're still gonna get shit goaltending. Like...
Yeah, from what I've heard, Connor McDavid played through a torn muscle in his hip.
Why? Well, how?
Because the team was failing miserably, and he felt like he had to play.
Oh yeah, I remember him. That's like some of the warm-ups where you could tell it was one of those, he's not going to take his boot off in the first period, right?
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't look hurt now though, does he? Holy shit.
Well, him hurt is still, like, better than everyone else. But yeah, I would still acquire a goalie if I'm them. And they don't, again, we were talking about it earlier, they don't need a guy that's going to dominate, they don't have to, their package doesn't have to be that nice, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, Desharon also asks, passing on from Matheson, what about potentially trading Monahan at the deadline? Monahan is 100% being traded.
He's gone. Tanner Pearson, if he's healthy, he's gone.
Yeah.
Who else? There was another one I had in my mind. If they get anything for Allen, he's gone too. Oh, I almost made it 2 episodes without trading a goalie. Damn it.
We're not going to go another episode without trading a goalie this whole season.
No, actually, well, I mean, from what I'm hearing, and I hate doing this because, like, I hear so many stupid things. If there's something that's going to happen, it's going to happen soon. So there's my vague nothingism to make me sound like I'm in the know for the episode. But yeah, there's some sticks and the irons in the fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. There's going to be
something might happen, but it might not, is what I'm trying to say here.
Bernardo Sonier says, when will Jaden Struble win the Norris? This year.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Who else is going to take it from him? Quinn Hughes?
Yeah. Oh, hey, Andrew.
Settle that with an arm wrestling competition.
I have a question for you. Someone from Winnipeg's trying to use the SDPN Zoom. If I allow, am I going to get cut off?
I don't know.
But I think I have to allow them because I think they're hosting.
Yeah, that'd probably be Alyssa. So
okay, so get ready to go to a 1.
Okay, I'll you know what? Why don't we wrap the show and let Alyssa take on, because we've gone enough time here anyway for this game. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for commenting here. Seeing all the regulars. Excuse me, is fantastic. Hopefully next time I won't be on the edge of a cold here.
You live with kids.
Jumping on last minute too.
You're always going to be sick.
This is true, but I try my best not to be. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. We'll see you again on Game Over Montreal. When's the next game, Mark? Do you know?
Pittsburgh Wednesday.
Pittsburgh Wednesday. Mark is hosting. It should be a fun one. We got to book some guests coming up here. Mark and I are gonna have to,
and we're gonna talk goalies again. So Salted One just joined us. We're wrapping up, but we're gonna talk goalies next episode. I promise.
Absolutely. All right, folks. We'll see you then.
Bye, guys.